mention where you listened or watched the podcast. If you were on YouTube, mention YouTube. If you're listening to the podcast, mention the podcast. If you're on Facebook, mention Facebook. That way, I think we'll give everybody an equal chance in getting a free book.
Okay.
Right. So even if you're listening to this tomorrow,
exactly. Yes.
or just listening to the podcast, not watching, you have a chance. So
yes, everybody. This way, everybody has an equal chance.
And let me just say, it's the first book.
Yeah.
Yes, the first book.
Magic book one.
Yes.
And again, we'll keep the email up here for those of you who are watching, and it's chrischrisman2@grm.net, and we'll just keep that up so people have.
Yeah, and if they go to my website, the email is there along with the sign up for the newsletter and all of that. Mm-hmm. And all of my books are always going to be on Kindle Unlimited. I am a firm believer in Kindle Unlimited.
Okay, good. Why are you a firm believer?
Well, because I read so much, I could not afford to buy all the books that I read. It's just, I read too much.
Oh, I see. So you want to bless people the same?
Yeah, if you want to buy the book, hey, please buy the book. But if you'd rather just read it and, go through Kindle Unlimited. I have no problem with that at all.
Are your books on audio?
No, they're not. I'm waiting until all three are done. It's going to be a trilogy, and I'm waiting till all three are done so I can put out all three pretty much as a rapid release kind of deal.
Okay, well, that's good to know. It's important for people to know that.
And you had asked, and I forgot when you wanted me to talk about myself, how I got into writing and what. I mean, I wrote songs back in the 70s like we all did and whatnot. I've actually been disabled 3 different times. In 1983, I was in a really bad motorcycle accident that destroyed the right half of my body. I turned 27 on life support, put it that way. But and they were like, well, you're crippled, you can't work anymore. I'm like, screw that, So, I stuck with therapy and went back to work. In 1998 or 99, I think it was, I fell off a ladder at work and ended up getting hurt. And I had shoulder surgery and both elbow surgeries and couldn't work at what I was doing anymore. And vocational rehab said, well, we can send you to go work with the blind people, or we can send you to college. Which would you rather do? So I went back to college in 1999 at age 40 something or other, because I can't sit still. I'm an artist. I've been an artist my entire life. I have to create something. So I went to college, started my own computer business, did that for a number of years all through the 2000s, all while raising 2 kids. And then in 2016, old injuries of my shoulder caught up with me and I lost the use of my right arm. Frozen shoulder is basically what it was. And I could no longer use my right hand, and it's like, all right, you have to retire now. So I was forced to retire that 3rd time, and that lasted for about a year. And I'm like, I can't do this. I can't sit around and wave at the cars as they go by. I have to do something. And that's when I had told Orlando this when I first became a moderator for him. I'm like, I've got a book that I've got in me to write. He's like, yeah, I know. So I wrote that book, which will probably never get published because it's about my motorcycle accident and things from back then. I finished that and it's like, all right, well, what am I going to do now? I'm like, well, I know all these urban fantasy people. Why not try to write an urban fantasy book? And that's how I became an urban fantasy writer. I was forced into it, shall we say. Typing one-handed.
That's a different path than most of us, I think.
Right.
The point is you're only as disabled as you think you are. I'm a survivor. You can do whatever you put your mind to doing.
That's true.
Never give up. Never give up.
doesn't mean it's easy.
Doesn't mean it's easy. It's hard. It is really hard.
Mhm. It is hard, but you can do it. Wendy Schindler said, right there with you, Chris. Kindle Unlimited saves lots of money.
Yes.
It does. And it's a good thing that you have all your books on Kindle Unlimited so people can take advantage of that
Yes.
and
Right.
read all that magic and have all
Yeah.
that fun escaping into the
And
story.
I had asked my beta readers after I did the first one, it's like, do I have enough magic in this book? Or because mine is a unique twist of magic and science together. My main character, Zardoz, prefers to use science rather than magic. So he's more of a scientist than he is a wizard. He's only a wizard because, well, he's got the power, but he prefers to use science. That's my unique take on urban fantasy, something a little bit different.
Kirsten Hall says, never give up, never surrender. Galaxy Quest.
Never.
It is a great quote,
That is a
Kirsten.
great
And
quote.
we actually hear people saying, never give up, never surrender. And I think a lot of them don't even realize it
Oh,
comes
no.
from
What is
that
from?
movie.
Yeah.
And, oh, I love that movie.
I think I have that quote on my my personal Facebook profile. It's
Do
I
you?
saw it there.
Yeah, never
Yeah.
give up, never
Yeah.
surrender. It's a good,
And-
great quote.
And one of my other famous quotes that I absolutely love that most people won't get is from the movie Harvey. Remember Harvey with Jimmy Stewart?
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
He
This-
goes, well, doctor, I wrestled with reality for 35 years and I'm finally happy to say that I won out over it.
He really was seeing Harvey.
Yeah, no, a lot
Just
of people
saying.
would say, "Who's Jimmy Stewart?"
I know.
I know you guys would know who he was, so
Yeah.
I felt comfortable with that.
One of my favorites.
Mary,
I love Jimmy Stewart. And Harvey
Marie
is just,
says, we prefer magic. And Wendy
yeah, but
Schindler says,
there's a cost to magic.
there's a
That is
cost
true.
to everything
Yes.
that you do.
Yes.
And that's just, okay, don't get me started. But it's
That's
the
not
law
a
of
quote from a
physics.
movie, is it,
No.
or a game or anything. Okay.
It's just the way the world works.
Yeah. You want
Okay.
to stay warm, you have to go out and cut the wood and split it and bring it in. And yeah, I did that for 15 years. Yeah.
Well, and there is a cost to expending energy. So, there's a cost to everything you do.
To
Wendy
everything.
Schindler says, song by Triumph, never surrender, LOL. That's true. That is so good. Yes. Yeah,
My books are full of Easter eggs and movie quotes and
Oh,
Oh,
just
cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Wendy she got exactly what I was talking about. Wendy said the heat is in the tools. And you're absolutely
Yeah.
right.
that's
Yep.
right.
Yep.
And if you're the tool, guess where the heat is?
Yeah.
It's in the tool.
So, Chris, you got a book coming out in the spring. Can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit about where it's headed?
Oh,
Without-
Yeah. I don't want to do a cover. I've got the cover. I'm looking at the cover right now, but I don't want to do a reveal yet.
Okay.
Let's just say it's called Old Magic, and because of what happens in book number 2, it triggers the old magic and awakens a dragon, the last dragon.
Ooh, okay.
I love dragons.
Oh yeah, me too. Yes, I've got dragons everywhere. We had to put a dragon in there.
There you go.
I've been a member of an online dragon multiplayer game for I think maybe 13 years, and I
Wow.
own thousands of dragons on that.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've got dragons. I've got dragons everywhere. Dragons are my spirit animal.
I love them. They're awesome. They're really cool. I'd like to fly on one, but
Oh yes, the dragon riders of Pern. Oh my gosh, don't get
yes,
me.
Anne
I want a fire
McCaffrey.
lizard. I want
Anne
a fire
McCaffrey.
lizard. Yes.
So Anne McCaffrey When she passed away, her son took over.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys listened to Ann Hillerman when she was on our show, but she took over her dad's books, Tony Hillerman, which is the Jim Chi and Joe Lee novels. She did a great job.
Yes, I would agree.
Unfortunately, Anne McCaffrey's son, not so good.
No, I tried it and didn't care for it. No.
My daughters and I agree. Now, though, her daughter is writing, and those books are good.
Really?
So you gotta check that out.
I'll have to check them out then too.
You like that? I don't remember her name right now. I'm old.
I can find it. Yeah.
Yeah. Kirsten Hall said, spirit animal, 90% dragon with a pinch of 10% sloth. That's Kirsten.
Kirsten, I don't think you have any sloth in you. Are you kidding me?
Hardest worker we know.
I don't know of anybody that works as hard as you do.
Her and George DeSmoots, I think.
George too, yeah.
Well, that's like my wife when we first started dating in 2015. She was like, you have to stop moving around. You're like a monkey on crack. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, you're always busy doing something. I said, wait till you meet my mother. Well, the next year we went out to California. She met my mother. My mother can run rings around me. So it's genetic. It's in the blood. We can't be still. We have to be doing something all the time.
It's called ADHD.
My wife says I have a touch of Asperger's, which she might be right. I don't know.
Well, if you ever look up all the things on the spectrum, because we
my gosh, yeah.
We have autistic grandchildren, and we're all on the spectrum at some point.
We are all on the spectrum at some point. Yeah, depends on how far you want to get into it.
Yep, I agree. Yeah. I think so. Not everybody has the difficulties that some of our grandchildren have.
Some of them are worse than others, and a lot of them, they manage to slip through society, and you would never know anything was wrong.
Yeah, and it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Everybody has their own path to walk.
Absolutely. But mental health issues are important, and we shouldn't hide them, and we shouldn't be embarrassed by them. And
no one should be afraid to talk about mental health issues. I mean, I've got PTSD. I've had it since '83, and it's something. I mean, I lost a nephew to suicide back in early 2006 or 7. And it's just people need to open up and tell people when something is wrong.
Yeah. That's especially this time of year.
Especially this time of year.
Especially following Christmas. So this week, if anybody out there that's listening to this needs any help.
Anybody wants to talk about PTSD and what I've learned in the last 40 years, give me a buzz. I'd be more than happy to share what I've learned.
Right.
And Rob and I are always willing to listen to anybody.
This is a safe place. So.
It is a safe place.
And a lot of times that's all somebody needs is someone to listen without judging or even talking. They just need somebody to listen.
And know that somebody cares.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And somebody does care. A lot of people care.
Yes.
It's just sometimes people can't see that because they're in such a hurt place. But
yeah. Yep.
Wait a minute.
Wendy said...
Wait a minute.
What comments am I missing?
I may need help disposing of a body if you're offering LOL. No, that's not what we said. By a safe pace, we did not mean we would be aiding and abetting.
That's safe.
I know Wendy. She's got a podcast show. She lives south of me in Kansas City, and she's a paranormal investigator, kind of like you guys are. And she's wanting me to GPS all the local cemeteries up here, and because she wants to come up and visit the cemeteries.
Oh yes, we belong to a team of people. We investigate all the time. We just came back in September. We were gone for almost a month, investigating all around Tennessee. It was really fun.
The time has flown by. My gosh.
I know.
It has.
So Marie says, wait a minute, let me get that up there. A good friend helps, best friends help you. And Wendy says, still waiting for that too.
I've got a few of them GPS for you, Wendy. I'll get you a list by summertime.
So, Chris, what kind of advice would you have for somebody that hasn't attempted yet to start out writing, but would really like to do it?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say, besides, joining readers groups of authors that you like to read, is offer to be a moderator for one of those authors. Now, like, for example, I'm a moderator for Orlando, John P. Logston, but if you can't be a moderator, be a beta reader. I mean, authors are always out there looking for beta readers, and I learned a lot just by beta reading for authors. And I had no interest in writing an urban fantasy book at all when I joined Orlando. I just liked what he wrote. And over time, I'm like, well, hey, maybe I can give this a shot. But beta reading for authors would be my best advice.
How do you recommend someone becoming a beta reader?
Well, there's
dog.
Well, they call them ARC teams, or Orlando's is the ART Advanced Reader Team. I call mine beta readers. Just go to like I said, an author that you like to read and say, hey, are you needing any beta readers? I mean, that's the best way to do it, is just ask. All they can do is say no.
Joe Conjo just made a comment, and actually it brings up another thing I wanted to talk about. Joe Conjo said, Rob and Joan, you guys need to do a show on all your ghost investigative adventures. Dedicate an hour to just you two speaking on what you've seen and experienced.
Yep.
Actually, Joe, I think we're probably going to be doing some pop-up type of podcasts on that. And also our team has a Facebook, Tampa Bay Spirits is on Facebook. And we're thinking about we need to talk to the rest of the team, but Rob and I think we would like to have people do Facebook Live and tell their own personal ghost stories, because we know that a lot of you that are not investigators, you've had experiences, and it's amazing how many people tell us, well, I had this happen. So we're going to try and get some of all of you that have your own ghost stories to tell your own ghost stories. And yeah, we have a lot of ghost stories.
I agree with Joe. I think that's a really good idea. You guys really ought to look into doing that.
Yeah, and maybe we could do it here on this show. And that brings up another thing I wanted to ask you all about. And we had talked to Chris about it in our pre-show. We met a young man on our trip to Tennessee, and he does voiceover, and he would like to get into doing audiobooks. And he sent us a little tape of what he could do. And we think he's really wonderful.
Yeah.
How do you guys think? How would you guys like it if we brought him on the show, and maybe not have him for the whole hour, but have him on for a little bit, just so you guys could meet him and get his information and hear what he could do? So let us know if you think that that's a good idea. You can, drop us an email or text us or message us or whatever.
You know where to find it.
I think that's a good idea too. I would agree.
Wendy said we all love personal ghost stories. Yes, it's like, what have you seen? What have you heard? Marie's talked about hers, but we haven't heard it.
I think I told one of my ghost stories on Wendy's podcast last year, if I remember correctly.
And then Joy Shelton York said, I agree with Joe too. Joe Conjal said, I think that's a great idea. I think you're talking about the young man who does the voiceover artist. Oh, Kirsten said, yes, I would love to find an audio person.
Kirsten's always looking for beta readers too.
Yes.
I've seen her.
There you go.
Yes. I think Joe Concho
requests,
is someone you'd be interested in too, Kirsten. And Paul Hollis says, yes, please bring him on. Okay, we will. And Marie says, okay. Wendy said, yes, you did, Chris, and Marie also. And Marie said it was long ago.
It was, yeah. And my memory is not what it used to be.
Which is funny because the way we got into doing this podcast was because we were on a number of podcasts about the paranormal, and we were
Really?
asked to do our own podcast.
Really?
And we said, well, we don't want to do it on the paranormal. We want to do it for authors. We want to give our authors a place to speak and to give them a voice and let people meet them and see what wonderful people they are. So
yeah, this show I love this show. You know, I've been watching for a while, and I just love that you bring on authors, and it gives us as readers a chance to see the face and the voice behind the written words.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's so many different people.
Yeah,
everyone's just wonderful. So.
I know. Yeah, we have
authors are the nicest people. Well, most authors are the nicest people you'd ever want to meet. I'll put most.
Well, yeah, put most in front of that.
But yeah, most in front of that.
True. That is very true.
Kirsten says, Monmouth College in Monmouth, Illinois, mind-blowing for ghosts. Ooh, we'll have to check that out. Our team likes to travel.
Yeah, there you go.
Paul, I said, you guys are the podcast king and queen.
I want to have Paul back. I just love hearing Paul's stories. He just tells me
I know. And they're true.
That's
the thing that's like,
we need to have a show with Paul where he can tell us the stories that he can't tell the rest of the people. That's what I want to hear.
Sure, being on the internet so everybody could hear it, that's no problem.
No problem for Paul. They may still be looking for him.
I was going to say, yeah. We don't want that. No,
we don't. Yeah, but his stories are crazy. And I love it that they're true. And that's what I mean. In George Dismukes, you guys, you haven't heard a tenth of his stories.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Wendy Schindler goes, no FCC here, LOL. Paul Hollis says, thank you all so much. I'm blushing out. Really, Paul, your stories are.
Yeah.
And George, too. George has the most amazing stories, and he hasn't even
touched the surface.
Surface. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome. It's all connected.
There it is. We are all connected.
And I couldn't find it. I'm glad that you did.
You are welcome.
Oh my goodness. This has been such a great show.
Yeah.
I've had fun. I've had a lot of fun.
I have too.
See the guy behind the comments.
And thank you, audience, because you have made this a great show also.
It's been fun.
It has been.
Yeah. And I'm surprised nobody asked me where Zardoz came from. So, yeah, we'll leave that for another show.
All right.
Well, he's out there doing stuff, isn't he?
He's out there doing stuff behind the curtain is what he's doing.
You go.
Joe Conjal said, great show as always. Thanks to Chris and, of course, Rob and Joan. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
And Paul Hollis says, another wonderful show, of course. Thanks, Chris, Joan, and Rob. It has been. Marie says, thank you all, and thank you.
Thanks for showing up, Marie. I know it's like the middle of the night over there.
That's what she said.
Feel free to join us anytime you can't sleep.
Joy Sheldon says, great show. Kirsten said, thanks for the entertainment this evening. And Orlando said, great show. Here we go.
Good.
Oh my goodness. Our thing is messing up.
It's the gremlins in the machine, I'm telling you.
There are some gremlins. No, don't do that. Oops.
Okay. No, I needed to do that, but great show, y'all.
Okay.
Good.
There, Heather said thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Okay, well, we're going to do thank you so much, Chris. It's been awesome, and we'll have to have you on again another day. And
thank you both so much for having me on this show. I feel like I'm a real actual author now.
I think you already were a real
I think you were
actual
an author
author.
before.
I think you have been for some time.
I'm going to move you over to the side here, and you sit tight, and we'll be back with you later. And that was just awesome.
It was a really good show.
Make sure you show up, come by next week, next Wednesday, same place. And I wanted to tell you about the, get to the right spot here. Our next year, January schedule is right here. Ron Francel will be January 4th. Robin Maderich is on January 11th. C.W. Hawes, Christopher Hawes, will be on January 18th. And Jeffrey Marshall will be on January 25th. And then, of course, we have our episode rewinds. Doug Cooper, Beam Weeks, Patrick Parker, and Nick Chiarkis are going to be on the episode rewinds for January. So,
and we'll let you guys know when we're going to have that young man on who does audio. I think you'll really be happy to hear what he can do. He's very entertaining, and he can change his voice quite a bit. So that's what you need when you have an audiobook read.
Okay. So we're going to tell you how to get a hold of or hop over to Voice of Indie right now and enjoy the show. And
see you next Wednesday.
Until next time.
That's all, folks.
Bye.